Welcome once again to a special edition of Heaven is My Home, and I have Crystal Woodmen Miller with me, and we're at the middle school over in Cedar Springs, Michigan today. And how you doing, Crystal?
Good morning, good. How are you
Good
doing?
handshake.
Thank you, sir.
What brought you to Michigan, first of all?
What brought us here to Michigan is actually something called the 180 Tour, and it's
Okay.
myself traveling with a rock band called Casting Pearls.
Yeah, I kind of hear them in the background.
Yeah, they're back there, they're warming up, getting ready for tonight's show, but basically what the 180 Tour is myself and them going into schools across the nation,
Okay.
and we're doing a character education program. We're challenging their character, their
Okay.
influences, you know, the things like media, the friends that they're hanging out with.
What would cause you to do something like that, though? Do you have a good reason?
I do indeed. You know, I feel like it's the most important message that I can bring because I am a survivor of the shootings at Columbine High School, this nation's deadliest school shooting.
And what grade were you in when this happened?
I was 16, I was a junior at the time.
And the day?
I was actually in the library. I survived the library, which if you remember the details of that day, you would remember that the library was the scene of the most intense violence.
And of course, you were under a table or something, or where did you go?
I was under a table, just right there in the midst of it. Students were dying all around me.
Right.
And under that table, a friend of mine, he vowed to take a bullet for me. He said, "Crystal, I promise that I
Wow.
will take a bullet for you." And it was at that moment that I really recognized that the things that I had been living for in my life, they just didn't add up. And under that table, I basically cried out to God. I said, "God, if you're real," I said,
Right.
"Get me out of here alive. My life is yours forever. Just give me a second
The
chance."
valley of the shadow of death. You felt that?
Right there.
I was a born-again Christian when I was 38 years old, see? And it was a want-to thing, not a have-to thing, you know? But I had to get, something had to happen to me before I was willing to do this.
Right.
Now, what tipped you off? You were in the library.
We had been in there probably 5 minutes, and I was studying for a test. And sometimes I wonder if it's my fault that we ended up in there because it was my test. That
You
I
always
was
have
in
that
there.
little guilt with you. We
A
have
little bit,
Vietnam vets
yeah.
that come back and say, I didn't get killed, and I feel that guilt, you know? But the truth is, God's got you here for a reason.
There was a purpose, there was a reason, even that I was there in the worst part of the school that day.
What happened? I mean, take yourself back to that time, that second. What tipped you off?
A teacher that came running in the doors, and she was screaming frantically, "There's guys with guns and bombs, they're shooting students, get under your tables."
And you're saying, what?
Yeah, a joke. This has to be some sort of senior prank. There was no way that I believed that this could actually be happening.
Sure.
I mean, in my 16-year-old mind, nothing bad ever happened in my community.
You go home and watch TV, everything's fine. It happens everywhere else but here, right?
Absolutely, and I'd heard the sounds down the hall, and it sounded like firecrackers and paintballs. It just didn't seem real. It didn't seem like the movie sounds, you know?
When that whole scene came into the library, though, how was a door over there that opened up and bang?
Well, actually, the library doors were already open, and right after the teacher came running in, a friend of mine came running in. He had been shot, and he was holding on to his
So
shoulder.
you knew it wasn't a joke now?
Pretty much learned that it wasn't a joke, but it was too late to run or even find a decent place to hide, so we got underneath of our tables.
Seth and you.
Seth and I and Sarah.
Okay.
And he said, you know, start praying. God's the only one who can get us out of here. Didn't really know how to pray, didn't know what to do. I wasn't exactly living the life of a Christian at that point in my life. You know, I was your typical 16-year-old girl.
And now you're under this table, and Seth is here, and your girlfriend is here, and you're at the table about this size?
Nope, it was probably about a 6-foot wooden table with wooden, you know, planks on both sides.
And then when did the people start coming in and shooting?
Just a few seconds later, they were coming down the hall, and they came into the library. The doors were already open. They said, "Everybody stand up, get out from underneath of your tables."
Okay.
Of course we didn't, so immediately rapid fire shooting began, them
Things
lighting
started
off their
flickering
pipe
around.
bombs. Yep.
Now, I got to ask you, what do bullets sound like? Zip, zip, zip?
I can't describe anything like. I mean, you can't. There's no movie that can capture us.
Everything in slow motion, kind of like, I can't believe this is
but
happening,
it's
right?
I mean, like it's like you're just in this land of this isn't really happening
Right.
to me. There is no way that I am in this situation. I'm 16 years old.
So anyway, these guys decided to go get more ammo. In the meantime, then you got out.
We recognized that this was quite possibly our only opportunity to escape. Seth jumps up, he runs for the exit. Sarah and I stayed under the table. I mean, up until that moment, we had been physically unharmed. expect at least.
Right.
Come to find out later, Gary, that our table was the only table that remained untouched that day.
Okay. So,
Out of 18 or so tables.
right. But how did, as I'll say, that's a real good friend of yours still to
Great
this day.
friend. We stay connected. Sarah and I stay connected.
Oh, yeah.
But
Well, you
my-
have a connection no one else has.
No.
You
And-
spent time in a foxhole together.
Furthermore, I'm connected now with people in. I've traveled to 15 some countries.
Right.
I'm connected with people in Kosovo
Oh,
because
yeah.
of their experiences in the war. Indonesia after the tsunami. I went to Beslan, Russia after the terrorist attacks.
And have you written a book yet?
I have.
Good.
It came out April 1st, marked for life.
Great.
Choosing hope and discovering purpose after earth-shattering tragedy. Yeah.
They were only made one crystal. They only made one can on the
He's
camera.
unique.
And in all the time, they've proven that no one has ever been the same.
Yeah.
So your circumstances were the ones.
Yeah.
We're the ones. That means we're going to a station break. But the thing I got to tell you too, God bless you. This is a ministry He's given you. I understand. I see it in your eyes. I see it in your heart. And the eyes are the window of the soul.
That's right.
And if you look in the camera, and if you can say, "Heaven is my home."
Heaven is my home.
That's it, Ken. That's it from the high school or the middle school. God bless you,
God
kid.
bless you. Thank
And
you
we're going to
so
be hearing
much.
from you pretty soon.
Absolutely.
All right.
I wanna live life, but never be cruel. And I wanna live